What's up everybody, it's Benjamin's Bay here bringing you another LEGO video with today another BDP or Bricklink designer program set review. This is the Lost City set 910042. However, I will not only look at the set but also experiment with adding minifigures from other themes, so stick around. Timestamps will also be in the description below, so here we go. Let's start with the overview. Here is the Lost City. It consists of a little over 3,500 parts, which makes it the biggest set of the BDP Series 3 set wave. The concept is straightforward. This set tries to capture the look of an ancient building that was exposed to the hands of time. And it does so in a great way. I love the variety of techniques used, from shrubbery to realistic decay of the various areas. The color scheme is lovely. I have to say I'm surprised at how well dark turquoise fits here. I wasn't sure about that, but it totally works. In fact, as you'll see throughout the review, we nearly have every shade of green ever made. Just a quick note, I will be referring to this build as a Lost Temple just because that makes more sense than a Lost City given the size. We'll start at the entrance, where we are immediately greeted by two massive brick-built statues, roughly 3 times the size of a minifigure. One is in relatively good shape, while the other not so much. In fact, its head has fallen off. You can place its back, although it's not exactly the same head as the other one. There is another head in the roof, but I honestly wouldn't touch that at all because it's a pain to get it out and to put it back. The statues come with both a staff and a shield, and there's also some articulation in the arms. Overall they are a must. Like, if you remove the statues it immediately makes the entrance look pale. However, as much as I like them, they do have stability issues, especially if you're trying to reach over them to place minifigures near the pond behind. The statues look great, but have just too few points of attachment, with things often only being connected by a single stud, and that definitely hurts the overall experience. Also keep in mind that there are not enough parts to make 2 identical statues, so if that's what you're looking for, you will have to add your own parts. You can fill in some of the gaps though, because for some reason we get an excessive amount of extra parts with all the BDP sets. Directly behind the statues we'll find the stairs. Nothing too new or interesting here, except on the side where we'll find a small stream of water cleverly using the minifigure energy bursts. And then that brings us to the pond, which I suspect is something that draws in a lot of attention when people first look at this set. And rightfully so. The entire floor here, not just the pond and its surroundings, but even beyond the arches, is snot building, and it works surprisingly well. Beneath the surface we'll find what I assume is a coffin. There's nothing inside, but that's good because there really isn't an easy way to reach it. Everything you see below the surface is pretty much only for decoration, but in this case I don't mind, just because it goes along so well with the pond. Obviously I would have preferred a water surface that isn't separated by lines, but given the part limitations this is honestly a great feature and a highlight of the set. Do keep in mind, because of all the snot building, there aren't a whole lot of studs to place minifigures here, although you can seat them on the throne directly behind the arches. It's fairly basic, but still a nice inclusion. We'll look at the back later. First we'll cover the front, moving on to the left side, where we pass these curved slopes that are attached sideways. I really like this. It's just another example of the neat snot building techniques the set has to offer. Next, let's look at the floor. The foliage is all good. I even saw some classic snakes in dark green, which surprised me because I thought they had long been discontinued. There's some more rock work here, and then the top of a tower that has fallen down and succumbed to the moss and whatnot. There are 4 of these in the set, and they are amazing. Again, with a ton of snot building and excellent color balance. There's just one thing missing here. One very important thing that draws more attention when it's not there compared to when it is. I'm talking, of course, about support. So we have this cylinder-shaped balcony here, and perhaps this photo will make it clear why it needs more support. You can clearly see that even with the light pressure, there is some play, and the irony is that this is really easy to fix with pieces already in this set. In fact, the pieces we need are part of another somewhat unstable section, which is on the back here, where we'll find what I assume are pillars that used to keep something up. And the problem here is that they have too few points of attachment for this height. Fortunately, we can solve 2 problems at the same time by lowering the height of these pillars and using the freed parts to support the balcony. It's simple but effective, and I'm honestly a bit surprised that this got through quality control. Alright, let's move all the way back to the other side of the build, which is more substantial. There are 2 floors here, not much happening on the base one other than a tree which passes through the ceiling and then extends outwards. More detailing all around, arches, slopes, foliage, and then a roof which provides a sneak peek to another highlight of this set that we'll get to in a moment. So let's move up. Quite a bit happening here, a ton of leaves, another tower top, and a large portion of one of the 2 main towers. And I absolutely love these towers. So much snot building, so smooth, so realistic, just epic. The roof is another highlight of the set. It's simple, just a bunch of curved slopes on a plate, but it looks great. And you can also clearly see the wide variety of green used in this set. There's a standard green, bright green, dark green, sand green, olive green and dark turquoise. On the other side of the roof it's much more withered state. A tree has grown through and you can even see some roots on the ceiling below, which is a nice detail. While this looks cool, the tree is easily knocked over, and when it is, it's a bit of a pain to put it back on. I think what's missing here is an axle that connects the base to the roof. That would make it a lot more stable. So now that we've covered the entire front section, there is of course the back section. This is another set with an open back design, and love it or hate it, but it does save cost. I've mentioned this before, but I don't have a problem with open back designs, especially in this case because of the style of building it is. I can totally imagine an ancient temple with a design like this, whereas if this would be a castle, not so much. There's not a whole lot going on here though. The left section has a skeleton, some tiling on the first floor. A little to the right you can also see the base of the tree that goes through the ceiling. Then we get to the center area, which I think is completely submerged. I like this, you can definitely see a bit of the blue hue from the panels up above. Moving up, there's the view to the front of the temple. And then we'll move up again. A few small floors here. Really not a lot of space to place minifigures, but that's fine. Both towers have a ceiling from which water drops all the way down through the macaroni tiles into the basement. And there's also a jewel tucked away in the center. Good luck getting to it though. Finally arrive at the top of the towers with more excellent detailing. As I said, I really love these towers. Next, let's look at the minifigures, and even though there are only 2 of them, there is a lot to talk about here. From what I've gathered, originally there were no minifigures included in this set, but that was changed due to some backlash in the comment section of this set. Which I find odd. Don't get me wrong, I like minifigures and I love that brick build backpack, but I would have no problem with it if this set came without. Something that often gets overlooked is the fact that the designer of this set, like with all the BDP sets, had a limited variety of pieces to work with, and it's especially limited in terms of the minifigure selection. Keep in mind that for sets like the Forest Stronghold, it really doesn't matter a lot if the minifigures are nearly identical. They're supposed to be that way, like they belong to the same faction, but with adventurers exploring a lost city, having them all look the same would just be kinda weird, and there's only so many adventurous torsos out there. Lastly, adding minifigures just to add minifigures is in my opinion a bad idea, as it runs the risk of turning this set from a lost city into a tourist attraction. And sure, we can voice our dissatisfaction with LEGO for the limited palette, but I think we would be getting too greedy there. In the end, the way I see it, the focus of this set is to create an epic display of a lost city, and it does it so well that I don't think it's fair to also ask for a ton of custom minifigures. This set is a display of what once was, of how time and nature slowly became a building created by an ancient civilization that is no more. It has a style of architecture I've never seen before, a ton of snot building techniques mixed with just the right amount of decay that give the build a detailed yet realistic look. I can't deny the stability issues, nor can I disagree with the notion that it's mostly a display set, but it's an excellent display set and the price is surprisingly fair even on the aftermarket. On another note, if you don't want to add minifigures yourself, I think you'll still be pleasantly surprised by the detailing, and if you do want to add minifigures, you can go all out. There are so many possible scenarios to create and stories to tell. Here's a display with the adventurers. We've got Dr. Charles Lightning examining the statues, Johnny taking a dip in the pond and being photographed by Gale Storm, Harry Kane on the roof, Sam Sinister hiding in the bushes, and Baron von Barron searching for the Tesseract, which is currently hidden in this building. And speaking of the Tesseract, this could also be the site of another epic battle between Thanos and the adventurers. Or we use a space stone to jump to a galaxy far, far away, where we'll see Qui-Gon and Darth Maul battling at a lost Jedi temple. This is where the Lost City absolutely shines, and it truly breaks out from any other LEGO set we've seen before. It's almost the ultimate display to bring your minifigures to life, rather than the other way around, and I've had a lot of fun seeing what combinations I could make, so hopefully this puts the lack of minifigures in perspective. Lastly, I have a very small addition regarding stability in the Bricklink designer program as a whole. I know that I may be a bit harsh about stability issues, and you could argue, well, this is a display set so it doesn't really matter, and to a certain extent I agree, there is some leeway, right? However, so far I've built and reviewed 3 BDP sets from different designers, and every time I feel like more quality control was needed. Both with the build and the instructions, and I'm not blaming the designers for this. I think that we've seen some amazing builds, and creating something like this from scratch all on your own, including the instructions, is a great accomplishment. No, if anything, I think this responsibility falls upon LEGO, because somehow I find it hard to believe that nobody noticed or felt the need to fix some of the issues I've pointed out over the past BDP reviews. And it's ironic because there are very strict demands when it comes to submitting your models for this program. Let there be no doubt though, I still love this set and the Bricklink designer program, and it's entirely possible that I'm being too perfectionistic. Hopefully we'll just see the quality improve further and further as we go along. Alright everybody, that's it for this review. I hope I was able to give you an idea of the potential of this set. I'm sure there are many more ways in which it could be used, not to mention alternate builds, because it's a good piece donor. Feel free to leave your comments down below. For now, I want to thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you next time with a new idea washed on the shore of a golden beach.